I've been skateboarding most of my life to the point where it's become a big part of my identity. And I'm honestly not sure where I would be at in life right now without finding skateboarding at a very young age. In all reality, it probably is the most important vehicle that I've ever found to get me to where I am. I've traveled the world, I've met some of my best friends, I've met my wife, I've had career opportunities, all from riding a piece of wood. I wouldn't have guessed that a skateboard would have gotten me to the places that it has gotten to me now. So in this video, I want to talk about the advantages that skateboarding has given me in my life. And this isn't to say that skateboarders are any different than any other human that are walking the planet. We're not better or worse. This is just an explanation of how, in my opinion, skateboarding is not a hobby. According to the IRS, this is what a hobby is by definition. Any activity that a person pursues because they enjoy it with no intention of making a profit. Now, I wonder if the intent is the crucial word here, because I think intent can be taken out of context. In America, we often base success off a numeric value and how much money somebody essentially has or is going to be making or has equity in, essentially. And I think this is where the idea of having a hobby like skateboarding can seem and be portrayed as lackluster, someone that's essentially slacking off. If you're always just pursuing a hobby and you don't have a career, I think here especially you're going to be pretty frowned upon. Ultimately, I think that's why skateboarders, not just skateboarders, but we're talking about skaters in this video particularly, are kind of frowned upon and look like delinquents in a way, is because like they're just doing this hobby, they're just going through life to enjoy it, and they're not doing things that they have to do to get to where they want to go. Typically, if you're making good money or you're making a career out of doing something you love like skateboarding, you're basically a professional. You're looked at it like a professional. So the in-between being a hobbyist and a professional, there really is no in-between. So we're gonna start here at Leucadia Skate Park, dive a little more into this topic. So by that definition, essentially, like unless you're making money from skateboarding, it is a hobby. And if you're not making money, then yeah, you're basically just a hobbyist. And I think the intent part of that definition, like whether you intend to make money or not, is kind of hard and kind of weird because there's a gray area. A lot of times, like skaters or professionals that do anything professionally that they love, they don't intend to make money from it. Normally, they just end up loving it and then they make it a profession. I never started skateboarding because I have an alternative motive. Like I didn't want to make money or anything like that. Honestly, all it was that it looked exciting and it looked fun and you could have a skate crew. It's really what I was like inspired to do, is just find a good skate crew and go out and skateboard. That was the only intent I really had. I had no intent to like make money from skateboarding. Just like most people don't have intent to make money from the things they just genuinely feel passion towards, whether it be making clothes, hats, jewelry, whatever it may be. A lot of times they don't have the intent to make a career out of it. They have a natural draw to it. And the funny part about all that is like now I'm 35 years old and it really hasn't changed too much. I've been practically doing the same thing almost a good part of my life in all reality. So the intent of this video is also to like take a step back and evaluate how I got to where I am and what my intent really was and where am I really going with this whole skateboarding thing. And if you're a subscriber of my channel, you probably know last summer, I lost my full-time job, which was pretty tragic, but I took that opportunity to go to Europe with my wife and just like take that downtime to think about where I was going and what was really going on and what I wanted essentially. Honestly, it was a really good thing to do because it reset my train of thought. We're gonna dive more into it, but I need to re-ups on some coffee. Big shout out to my wife for letting me use her car today. Mine's in the shop. After returning from Europe with no job at all, not really knowing what to do, it was a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little scared of what the future really held for me because it was a little more unpredictable. But since then, I've actually found myself living a much more fulfilled life. Yeah, it's a little more unpredictable, not quite as steady. Now, honestly, in my opinion, one of the coolest things about skateboarding is that there is no specific way of doing it. Like, there is no instruction handbook. There are no shortcuts either. That's essentially what I'm getting at, is there's no shortcuts. You can get a skate trainer, someone to help you with like learning tricks and things like that. But ultimately, it really does rely on you, and it relies on your stubbornness a little bit. Relies on your willingness to go through and suffer and be able to take a feedback loop. And I think this is really crucial to anybody. So now that it's been months since I left my full-time job and I don't have it anymore, I've actually gotten quite a lot of freelance work to the point where I'm financially stable just as much as I was when I had the job. So it's one of those things that I probably wouldn't have done the freelance and gotten this sort of more freedom, more time, had I not been kicked into that position of having to find more freelance work. So I'm gonna be honest with you, this hasn't been easy for me by any means. It's been pure survival. So I'm not gonna pull like a Mikey Taylor and tell you what to do financially with your career or anything like that. The one thing that I will say though, I think skateboarding has allowed all of this to happen. Without skateboarding, I don't think I would be in this position. Like most skateboarders, I'll say last try, or used to say last try, and I try it like 50 more times. I don't do that anymore because I think that is bad juju. You don't want to say last try over and over. I think you got like one or two of those. But my point is, being very stubborn could have its benefits and disadvantages. I think skateboarding has allowed me to have more like survival skills essentially. And what I mean by that is not like these primitive like survival without anything kind of skills. That's what I'm saying. Some more of like creative survival skills and dynamic survival skills that I've gained through skateboarding. Kind of what I'm getting at ultimately is like, I think I'm able to see things and get to things without having to look at them from this very granular contextual step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 process to get to step 6 or whatever it is. I think when you skateboard, you start to understand that things are a lot more dynamic than that. I am pretty self-critical, like most skateboarders, right? Like you critique yourself so much. Like I've made numerous YouTube videos that I just haven't posted because I just think they didn't meet my standards or my expectations. And that's the important part. It's like based off my expectations and my standards. I think when you look at careers or like processes, there's a very like right and wrong way to do things. Sometimes like follow the Elon Musk 5 steps, but like the point that ultimately I'm trying to arrive at right now is like, it's a much more dynamic thing, at least for my life. And I do think that's something I learned from skateboarding, is that like the process and my steps to get to where I need to go might not be the same as somebody else. Like somebody else's steps might be much different. And I think skateboarding has really allowed me to realize that, because like everybody has their own unique style or learning tricks. But like I said before, there's no rule book to skateboarding. You really have to figure out what works for you, your own way, and not just adopt processes or adopt what you've been told and what people have been told are the right way of doing things. Now, I'm very fortunate to have the following that I have here on YouTube. I'm very grateful for anyone that watches my videos. According to the IRS definition of a hobby, I guess this isn't a hobby anymore. Ultimately, I would be doing this with or without YouTube. That's not to say I didn't start YouTube not to make money. I did start my YouTube channel so I can make money and make videos and do all that. That was my intent when starting YouTube. That's not a secret. I'm very transparent about that. The reason I have a channel is so I can make money and follow my passion. Ultimately, I'm not going to make $1 million with a skateboard YouTube channel. Are you kidding me? I should go into finances or something like that. So it's like, clearly this isn't to like be super lucrative. It is because there's a genuine passion and I just have to express myself. And I think that's art in general. Like a lot of times artists have to express themselves, their internal dialogue and what's going on inside my head. Like this video, for example, I had to express it. So it wasn't so much that like I need to do it so I can make money. It's more like I need to do it so that I can feel like I express that internal dialogue. And especially like things that I feel like aren't talked about or aren't advocated enough, you know, there's already somebody out there that's probably thinking similar to you. So ultimately that's what I feel. I feel like skateboarding isn't a hobby, as cheesy it might be. I think ultimately skateboarding is a lifestyle. And I know that's super corny, and you could say the same things about golf, rap, hip-hop, music, anything really could say it's a lifestyle. But I think skateboarding in specific, I never intended to make money from skateboarding. Like I said, I make a little money from this YouTube channel, but I would be doing this no matter what. So in my opinion, skateboarding isn't so much a hobby, it's something that I have to do in order to feel like myself. I love you. Subscribe, hit that like button, mash.